How's it going, everyone? Wayne the Unknown here, and welcome to another episode of Geekin' Out's Cosplay Con Talk, where we basically discuss everything pertaining to the cosplay community and conventions. Tonight, we're doing another segment of Get to Know That Cosplayer, and tonight's featured cosplayer is Magus House. How are we doing tonight?
Hey, how's it going, Wayne? Magus House here, and I am doing all right.
It's pronounced Magus House. Okay, just the way it was looking.
Yeah. It's a thing that I had based off of, so that's actually a good question. Is I got the idea for this handle off of some stuff that have been, really close to my heart personally. Some anime that I really love, particularly love Chunibyo and Other Delusions, as well as the Fate series. And the Fate series is really where the word is more used, and it is pronounced as Magus in that series. Then there was also another anime that also uses it, so I don't know why people seem to have a problem pronouncing my name properly.
Okay, well, thank you for thank you for the correction.
No worries.
So to start off with this, how long have you been cosplaying for?
So my first cosplay was actually also at my first convention in 2010. So about 11 years now.
Oh
Well,
wow,
10 and a half.
that's so you've been cosplaying for 10 years now.
Yeah.
That's a pretty long time. So you've definitely seen your fair share of cosplays and conventions, I'm sure.
For the most part, I've definitely seen my fair share of, one specific convention. Financial issues have
Have what?
I
Okay.
have been attending the same convention for a long time.
And what?
Sorry?
Sorry, you cut out there for some weird minute.
Oh, I
It's
was
okay.
saying. Oh,
Go ahead.
sorry. Sorry. I was just saying that I have been to one convention many times, but due to financial issues, have not been able to attend any other major conventions.
And what's this convention that you've been attending for the past 10 years before COVID hit?
I have been attending KomoriCon of Portland and Vancouver.
I don't know. KomoriCon was in Vancouver. I thought it was just in Portland.
Oh yeah, that's actually a fun story. KomoriCon initially started in Eugene, but the first year that it ran there was a lot of I don't want to call it backlash, but there was a lot of people who don't get it, making really disrespectful comments towards congoers and making everyone feel, in general, not welcome.
That's
So it got moved
never.
to Portland.
That's
Yeah,
never. That's the one thing I think people need to realize is you should never, make fun or bully someone or gatekeep someone who's enjoying their fandom, especially
exactly.
especially with cosplaying. And that's
Hmm.
like one reason why I came up with this channel is to address everything pertaining to the cosplay community and cons.
Oh yeah,
Um,
totally.
what was it like? So I imagine you went to the one that started in Eugene or the one in Portland.
Oh, oh no, that was info I had found out later. My first KomoriCon was in Portland in 2010, and I was still in high school at the time, actually. um, I was introduced to the concept of anime-specific conventions by my best friend that I had met in high school. And through their help, I was able to attend my first convention.
Very nice.
And it was a blast. It was an absolute blast. That was also the last year that it was in Portland. In 2011, it got moved to Vancouver due to increasing size. The hotel that I was being hosted at in Portland didn't have enough space.
Oh, wow. So
So it
it's
went to Vancouver for a few years. But then one year, one of the hotels that I was being hosted at in Vancouver was undergoing construction. I believe they actually tore the place down or something. But after that year, they moved it back to Portland at the Oregon Convention Center.
nice. And for your first time going to a convention, did you happen to cosplay anyone when you went?
I did actually. I unfortunately don't have any pictures from 2010. I did take pictures, but this was at a time when I didn't have a whole lot of my own like tech. Like I didn't have my own laptop or anything like that. So the images just kind of got lost to me. But my first cosplay actually happened to be Neji Hyuga from Naruto.
Nice. That's
Mhm.
Neji is Hinata's cousin, if I'm not mistaken, right?
That is correct. Yes,
Okay. Did you do like the full like contacts and everything, or what did you how'd you go about with him being your first cosplay?
I was a high schooler who didn't have a job, so I did what I could. I had a cheap wig and a cheap cosplay outfit.
You
I,
know, you
I
gotta
had
start
what
out
I had,
somehow.
but nonetheless, it was very well received. And at the time, I was a little bit more oblivious than I am these days. But nonetheless, like I could still tell that the cosplay was being well received.
Well, that's good. At least, people were able to recognize who you were going as. So that's like always like, a good
Hmm.
thing, I think. When someone can, despite the skill or quality of your cosplay, someone will be easily able to recognize it.
Hmm. There was a lot of Hinatas that year too, by the
Oh,
way.
it was 2000. Yeah, no,
10.
I believe me. I had a few friends myself who were into the whole Hinata stage back in high school because a lot of girls could relate to her for some reason.
Honestly, as far as otaku girls, I can see that happening.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I remember, when I first heard about conventions, I always wanted to go, but never had the chance to ever go. But
Yeah.
um, now KomoriCon, and I've asked this with other cosplayers, and their answers are usually the same. Who have gone to KomoriCon? Would you recommend KomoriCon for someone's first con if they're looking to go into a convention in that area?
Personally, I do like KomoriCon. It is definitely a very great con, but at the size that it has grown to, if you do go to it as your first con, I recommend you go with someone else with you so you don't feel too overwhelmed. Because there is a lot going on, and the convention center can sometimes get really crowded. Um, so you just want to have make sure you have someone that can help you, like especially if you have any kind of sensitivities to crowds. Uh, Someone that can help you, just find some place where it's not as crowded and just kind of relax, calm down. But other than that, yes, it is a pretty good con as a first con.
Okay, so basically, like, try to go with someone who's gone to the con before, so they know where it's what. So if you have like an issue or something, they can like, okay, let's go here, so you can calm down and everything.
That is one thing too, but it doesn't hurt to also bring someone who hasn't gone to a con.
Just for the extra,
Ju-
gotcha.
just for the extra support. Yeah, it's mostly, find someone that you feel comfortable with. So because finding a spot where there's not a whole lot of people isn't that difficult. Navigating the convention center is pretty straightforward. Um, it's just more of, someone who can be there to morally support you.
Got you. That's a good thing to bring up for those who are curious about KomoriCon and everything. Um, so aside from Neji Hyuga being your first cosplay, who would you say your most memorable cosplay was?
Most memorable. Well, I only have three to choose from, unfortunately.
That's perfectly fine. That's totally understandable. There's nothing wrong with just having
Hmm.
three cosplays.
Yeah. Um, but most memorable might actually be the second one that I was able to get, which was Kirito from Sword Art Online. Main reason why I'd say that's the most memorable is I first got that cosplay in 2014, the year that three of the English voice cast of SAO actually were guests at the convention. Um, so we had like Patrick Seitz, we had Stephanie Shea, and we had Bryce Papenbrook. So, respectively, those are Agil, Yui, and Kirito himself.
Got you. And Did you happen to meet any of them when you went to KomoriCon?
I'm sorry?
Did you happen to meet any of them when you went to KomoriCon?
Yes. So, not sure if any of your previous interviewees have mentioned, but KomoriCon, when they bring guests from the anime industry, and most conventions do this, they do, excuse me,
You're fine.
they do host autograph sessions. So you can sign up to get an autograph from whatever member of the anime community that is the guest for that year.
Gotcha.
So that you can have them autograph your merch or like your DVD case or Blu-ray case. Most people do Blu-rays these days. And so I got to meet all three of them. There was also a Q&A for the three of them together that was held, and this is one of the two main reasons why my Kirito was my most memorable cosplay. So, because during that Q&A, I was the first person that they called on to ask a question. And I had a bunch of questions in my mind, but knowing that I was the first person, like when I was the first person they called, I knew that I had to make this question count. So my question was for all three of them on the panel, and I basically asked, if we were to skip the part of the story that showed the romance between Kirito and Asuna, who do you think Kirito should have ended up with? And that was met by a resounding ooh in the whole room. Everyone was slapped in the face by the question, by the sheer courage I had to ask that question, and the answers were pretty fun.
I imagine that took some serious balls to ask that question, though.
Oh, we're allowed to say that word. I was avoiding saying balls just.
Well,
to be
it's I try to I try to keep like the cursing at least out of this kind of stuff, but I feel like that's like a word that people use generally because balls can mean more than just one thing.
And also saying balls reminds me of the SAO bridge, but not getting into that.
No, that I feel like I feel like something that would be for something that's for my other geeking out episodes. It's not related to this, but so when you go to KomoriCon, for those who go to like I previously asked, any other advice you like to give about KomoriCon for first time con goers, like who are just like wanting to go to their first con?
So first time con goers, I want to advise, don't get too wrapped up in everything that's going on. You need to find your pace before you try everything. So my first con, I didn't even realize that panels were a thing. I was just enjoying the environment and following my friends around because my friends had been to cons before. So and I mean, at that time I was in a mental position of not being confident enough to be going around on my own, and I was also only 16, so I just stuck with my friends who were older. Oh yeah, was I 15? Either way, it doesn't matter. So I didn't do any planning ahead, and honestly, for your first time, it's better for you to just discover things as you go along. Don't put too much stress into it, because this is a thing that you're supposed to you're supposed to just bask in the moment. You're supposed to enjoy the time. And yeah, attending panels and getting autographs and buying merch are all, of course, really fun, enjoyable parts of a con.
Well, of course.
But when it's your first con, trying to look at all of that all at the same time can be overwhelming. So it's best to just figure this stuff out as you go.
That's a really good answer, and that's some good advice. Now I know with COVID, a lot of cons have been canceled, and
Oh yeah.
and I know I've seen that KomoriCon is trying to at least have their con happen late this year. Fingers crossed, everyone wants to get their vaccines and everything, so people can attend cons again. Do you have any upcoming cosplays you like to share? That you would want to show when cons come back?
I have cosplays that I want to do, but due to the financial blows of COVID, not sure if I will be capable of doing. But I don't mind sharing which ones I want that I wanted to do. Two different cosplays come to mind of ones that I have vocalized that I really want to do at some point in the near future, and those would be Archer Emiya from Fate Stay Night and Bon of the Seven Deadly Sins.
Nice. I remember seeing like a few cosplayers cosplay him. One memorable cosplayer seen on Instagram goes by the name of Leon Chiro. I'm not sure if you've
Hmm.
heard of his. He does. If you look him up on Instagram, his Bond cosplay is spot on.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Finding cosplayers who fit their cosplay just so perfectly, it's awesome. It is. I admit, like seeing that is just so cool. But at the same time, to anyone who feels like they can't cosplay a character that they don't fit, don't even worry about it. A good majority of the cosplay community is pretty accepting about that because I mean, we all are very different. Like I myself, I'm not particularly like fit. I'm not fat, but I do have belly fat. And so, I'm not exactly quote unquote Bond material aside from my height.
And
But I still want to cosplay him because he's a really rad character. And there's also other motives, but specifically to clear that to make sure no one makes any negative assumptions. The other intention is that my cousin who attended KomoriCon with me once and doesn't cosplay, he specifically said that if I cosplay Bon, then he will cosplay Meliodas.
nice. And I will have
So
to say this:
yeah.
if you guys do cosplay that, you have to recreate the scene when Bond and Meliodas meet for the first time again.
Oh yeah,
I
that's one of
think
the things I'm
I think you know what scene I'm
looking
talking
for.
about.
Oh yeah, Captain! It was so that scene was hilarious.
Oh, it
The
definitely
just
was.
patty cake, destroy this building.
Uh,
It was great.
but I'm sure you're looking forward to going back to Konzo once everything clears up and we get the okay from the conventions who have to get the okay from the CDC and everything that
Mhm.
you'll be happy to go back.
Oh, definitely. So for me, going to these conventions is a little bit of therapy in a sense. Um, just because it helps me feel like I'm part of the community where normally I don't get to have that feeling. And it helps me to feel more connected. And that sometimes can be really important to me because if I don't get that opportunity, then I tend to keep building up stress.
I I
So
I get that.
very
It's
much
been
looking forward to
stressful for a lot of people with due to COVID lately, especially with
it. Mhm.
the cosplay community and those who are wanting to go to their first con. Like I've seen other states have conventions, and I'm just like, and they're wearing masks and everything, but it's like it doesn't really seem fair to other conventions that can't do that because they want to make sure, hey, we have the clear to do this. We don't want to open it and then have the guidelines and then someone gets sick and they know we have to shut down again. Like,
Yeah, yeah. It's very off the cuff kind of stuff like that. They're basically saying like we don't really care if people here get sick. Is sort of what that kind of activity suggests.
yeah, no, I'd rather be told. I mean, I know certain places will probably have that. Okay, yeah, you guys come to come, but just know a whole lot of people you can't come, and you're gonna have to wear a mask. And there are so many cosplayers that some of their cosplays you can't even fit a mask around. So it's like
Hmm.
either you have to pick a different cosplay to have the mask, or just not go at all. Which to each their own. If you want to go to the con during this time, look, that's all on you. If you don't want to, that's all on you. Just be safe
Hmm.
is all. If you plan on doing any kind of get-togethers for cosplays or anything like that, that's all I have
Oh
to
yeah,
say on that
definitely
matter.
always be safe when it comes to get-togethers. And then one other thing that's also a bit of a bummer when it comes to wearing masks with relation to cosplay is that there are a lot of cosplays where the most identifying features are actually on the face via face paint.
And that brings me
Eh,
to my
Like yeah,
go ahead.
like Dobby I was gonna say, like, for example, a really popular one is Dobby from My Hero Academia. You have to paint like your chin area
Yeah,
for
I've
that
seen quite
character,
a few
and
Dobby
with a
cosplays.
mask, with a mask that's completely shut down.
And that brings me to my next question. Have you ever done face painting for any of your cosplays before?
I actually haven't, mostly because the cosplays that I've been doing were all characters that I relate to, and that's not to say that I don't relate to characters who have specialties on their face. It's just there are other characters that I leaned more towards and that were more affordable for me at the time. Um, Being a cosplayer while also being financially unstable is a difficult thing.
And there's nothing wrong with being a cosplayer on a budget. Like I feel like if you're doing you're cosplaying for the first time, or you're starting cosplaying, it doesn't hurt to budget yourself. And I'm sure, like I've asked other cosplayers, um, would you say thrift stores are your best friend when it comes to starting out cosplaying or getting into cosplay?
When it comes to building your own cosplay, definitely look at thrift stores. I myself didn't know where any thrift stores in my area were that I could look at. So that's something that you'll have to look into. But not only thrift stores, but even just like big name stores too, like on the sense of like Walmart, for example. Like that's a big name, but not a big like clothing brand. So you can go there, and if you feel like you'll find something, feel free to just go there and buy something. Because like my third cosplay was a very excuse me, was a character that he's not from like a really big name anime. This was actually my first, like, I'm forgetting the word for it, but not highly recognizable character. But after completing this cosplay, and this was the first one that I kind of just threw together as opposed to just buying from a store, I was really satisfied with it. I didn't get to put it all together to the level that I wanted, but what I had, I was satisfied with. And basically all I had to do for this character was I bought a white button-up long sleeve shirt from Walmart. I found some black slacks, and then I commissioned a wig. And I really liked it. Oh, and I also got some prop glasses. But
Nice. Oh,
yes, when you're throwing together a cosplay, definitely hit up any stores that you can find that might have something of value to you, because you'll never know what you'll find.
I can't argue with that. Mind sharing what that cosplay was that you did?
Yeah, it was Io Otonashi from Achikochi, otherwise known as Place to Place.
I have never heard of that before, or nor the character.
I am not surprised. As I mentioned, it's not a very hyped series, but it's a series that I absolutely love. It's like when I watched it, it immediately shot up to the top of my list of slice of life romantic comedies. Um, it's an anime that actually came out in 2012, but it's basically about this group of five friends getting into crazy antics in their day-to-day life, and two of the characters in particular both have quote-unquote unrequited love for each other, or at least one of them we know does, and then there's Io, who we think he does, but we don't ever actually get his inner monologue, so we don't know.
Got you. Got you.
But it's an adorable series, and I love it. I highly recommend
Nice.
it.
We got about 5 minutes to go. Real quick.
Hmm.
Do you have to happen any con stories you like to share, or any cosplay stories you like to share, whether it be funny, whatever, kind of, you know, share your own experiences within the community?
Hmm. Um. So that actually brings me to that second reason of why my Kirito was my most memorable cosplay. That second story was actually that same year that I did Kirito for the first time. There was an SAO cosplay photo shoot, and this was the first time I had been to a photo shoot. And there was a bunch of people there, like almost every character that had been shown in the anime at that point had at least one person cosplaying them. So that was awesome. There was even a Sachi. So that was great. But while we were all, taking pictures and having fun, the Bryce Pappenbrook actually showed up at the photo shoot when he was in between his panels. So we all
Nice.
got this like big group photo with the voice of Kirito, and I can send you the picture for the video too. Like, it was so cool to like, and I had already like gotten his autograph on stuff, and now I'm seeing him again, just casual in person, just hanging out with us. It was so cool. It was really fun.
That's pretty cool. I think it's nice when, guests for a con actually, take the time out of their schedule,
Hmm.
busy schedule to, actually meet with, con goers around because, not every cosplayer can, pay to get an autograph or a guest, or the panels are
Hmm.
always full. I've seen like a con I went to back in 2019, the room they had like the panel in was like packed. So you couldn't get in there and do really like sit or stand.
Oh wow.
So, I think that's pretty cool that the voice actor of Kirito just decided, to get a
Yeah.
get a big photo with all the SAO cosplayers.
Hmm.
That's pretty neat.
Oh yeah, there are various voice actors that are really cool people. Like one other name I want to mention um, was Karen is Karen Strassman. She is so wholesome. She is such a kind person. I won't go into details now because we're limited on time. We can save that for another
Oh yeah, no,
episode. But
definitely.
she's an absolute sweetheart. But you did also mention one other thing that I want to touch up on was the paying to get autographs. The fun thing about KomoriCon, and this is one of the reasons why I do recommend it as your first con, is they do not charge extra for getting autographs. At least not for the first two autographs. So you can still get autographs without having to pay for it. You just have to be lucky to get into the line in time.
Gotcha. And we got about less than a minute to go. Any real quick tips or advice for anyone, when it comes to cosplaying and going to conventions?
Basically, just have fun is probably the biggest thing that I can say quickly. Don't put too much stress into it. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you want it to be at a certain level of accuracy, then that's perfectly fine. But don't expect other people to be cosplaying at that same level. Don't expect everyone to be as critical about it, and don't try to force your standards on them.
Gotcha.
It's all about having fun and enjoying the atmosphere.
Nice. Thank you again, Magus, for being another featured guest on Cosplay Con Talks. Get to know that cosplayer.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Wayne.
And I'll mention it. Once again, I'm Wayne the Unknown. Thank you all for listening, and until next time, thank you for watching.